Big Dash knows what?
Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? You see the thumbnail. We're talking about cornerbacks. Who is the best cornerback coming out of college football this year? Who is the best cornerback for the 2025 draft? To me, and again, this is just my opinion, I don't think it's a question. I do believe that Travis Hunter is the best cornerback, possibly the best player coming out in the draft. And then you have some people that will say or argue that Will Johnson is a better cornerback than Travis Hunter. So the first part of this video, we are going to talk about these two players. And then after that, I'm going to talk about some other cornerbacks and then also some later sleepers, but not really sleeper type cornerbacks that I have on my personal list as well. But first off, let's get into this. Travis Hunter, 6'1", 185 pounds from Colorado. We know the stories. We know the hype. We understand what type of dynamic player this guy is. Quote unquote, a generational player, can play both sides of the ball. Now, we all know that the NFL is a different type of monster. Some people ask the question, what position is he going to play next year? Obviously, to me, he's going to be a cornerback first, and then also he can be used in certain packages as a wide receiver. Some people say he can play full-time, both wide receiver and cornerback. To me, that's a stretch. But I'm not going to say it's impossible because right now I'm already seeing the impossible with what this kid is doing right now in college. Now, when it comes to Will Johnson, 6'2", 202 pounds, like that's the type of, just hearing those type of numbers, the height and weight are like, yes, go ahead. Let me get this physical type of cornerback. And you will be right. I like Will Johnson a lot. I like his game. Now, when it comes to comparing these two, it's not really fair when you compare them in the 2024 season because you had 12 games from Travis Hunter and Will Johnson only played 6 games due to injury. Clearly. But at the end of the day, it's been such a discussion and a debate, or the discussion has been up and down whether or not Will Johnson is actually better than Travis Hunter. I wanted to dig into the stats. So without further ado, let's get right into these numbers. Now, first off, we have the 2024 stats for Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter played 713 snaps on defense. Of that, 399 were coverage snaps. Was targeted 38 times. Gave up 22 receptions for 205 yards. He also had 4 interceptions and 1 interception for a touchdown. Will Johnson, on the other hand, he had in 6 games played, he had 279 snaps, 182 coverage snaps, 26 targets, 16 receptions, 195 yards. He had 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns on the year. So those are the stats for Will Johnson. Now, again, he only played 6 games, so I want to throw up the 2023 stats as well. So for that, he had 550 snaps, 321 coverage snaps, 37 targets, gave up 17 receptions for 267 yards, had 4 interceptions and 0 touchdowns, and of course the Michigan Wolverines won the national championship that year. So just looking at the stats, looking at the numbers, and looking at the grades again, it's not close for 2024. When you throw those 2023 numbers in there, you have more of a debate. But to me, it's still clear that Travis Hunter is the best cornerback in college football, will be the best cornerback coming out in the 2025 draft. It's just clear to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Now, when we talk about the weaknesses, again, I like everything about Will Johnson. I don't think he has many weaknesses. If you want to be nitpicky and say he's a little handsy, you can say that. But what cornerback really playing press man? Because both of these guys are press man corners. Who's not handsy in college football? A lot of these guys, if you're not handsy in college football, you're really not playing. Now, it's all about footwork and technique, and I think that Travis Hunter just has better technique than Will Johnson. But again, to each his own. That's my opinion, and sometimes people don't see things the same. Now, when it comes to Will Johnson, I think he's a tad bit more physical. Especially in run support. Do I think he's just some wild better tackler? Not exactly, but he does have the frame to, to hold up a little bit better, especially in the NFL. Travis Hunter at 6'1" and 185 pounds, and I put the air quotes up because I don't believe he's 185 pounds. He might be 175, but 185 is a little bit of a push. He does have the longer limbs. actually, it's pretty much equal when you really think about it. When you look at these two players, long arms. Travis Hunter has super long legs. Will Johnson at 6'2", long legs as well. These guys are actually, when you really think about it, outside of the weight, they pretty much mirror each other too much. These two top cornerback prospects, any team will be happy with either one of these guys. To me, both of these guys are most likely going to, well, Travis Hunter definitely is the day one starter. Will Johnson, to me, depending on the team he goes to, is most likely a day one starter as well. Hopefully he can get in there with a veteran cornerback that can help lead the way a little bit. So that's just my quick discussion about these two guys, Will Johnson versus Travis Hunter. Let me know in the comment section down below who you guys believe is the best cornerback coming out in the 2025 draft. Now, I went looking around because, again, I do my own research. I watch a lot of games, but I don't watch all of the games. So I went to PFF and I looked at who their top-ranked cornerbacks were, and I'll throw up the graphics here. So as they have Travis Hunter as well being the best cornerback in this draft class. Second, Will Johnson, no surprise. Third, we have Benjamin Morrison out of Notre Dame, another guy that was injured this season. Then we have Trey Amos at number 4 from Ole Miss. I like him. And also Siobhan Revell, another injured player. Missed all of this season after the knee injury. I believe that was all the way in like not training camp, but before the season started. But one thing I noticed about the cornerbacks this year, or coming out in the 2025 draft, it's not too many short corners. It's not. I mean, there are some 5'10" guys, but when you look at these top corners, everybody's 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", depending on what happens with some of these guys that might go back. But you have 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" corners. I believe Siobhan Revell is even 6'4", but again, these colleges do lie. But you're looking at these cornerbacks now, and before you were looking at your 5'10", 5'11" cornerbacks and saying, how are these guys going to match up to these 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" wide receivers? And now we're starting to see the evolution of the cornerback catch up to these wide receivers, and it's becoming more of an even playing field, and I love to see it. I absolutely love to see it. Let me know some of you guys, what some of you guys think about some of these other cornerbacks. I think Benjamin Morrison does come off the board third, and I actually really do agree with the PFF rankings as well. I do like the kid Tacario Davis from Arizona, but guess what? He ends up going to the transfer portal. So the chances of him actually coming out are slim. I still think he has a chance to actually declare, but it looks like he's not going to declare. And this is a guy that's 6'3", another 200-pound cornerback. But guess what? He didn't have a good season, to follow up the season he had last year, and I think that's one of the main reasons why he's going back to college. Now, also, there's a set of cornerbacks that I really do like that are going to be day 2 guys and day 3 guys. That means they can range from late 2nd round, 3rd round to like the 4th or the 5th round. If some guys fall, we'll see what happens, and I'll throw up that list. And the funny thing is, too, some of those corners in that top 5, guys like Revell, I've seen some mock drafts where he's lasted to the 2nd round. Benjamin Morrison, not so much. Trey Amos, not as much either, but I've seen some where he can actually fall to the 2nd round, too. So those guys are, you're not going to see as many cornerbacks go, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did go, and I also wouldn't be surprised if they're around it early in day 2. Next thing I wanted to talk about is some guys that I have, some sleepers, not that are not really sleepers. If you guys follow college football, you know who these guys are. But for me, I'm just going to put them up on a list. I call it the Big Dash cornerback list. Again, these are some day 2 and day 3 guys. First on my list is going to be Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. Another guy that dealt with some injuries this year, was able to come back at the end of the season. I like what he's able to do. I like his skill set. Another guy on that list is from Alabama. That's Damani Jackson, speedster, physical, will come up and run support, not afraid to hit people. Love Damani Jackson as well. I've seen him range, though, depending on what website that you're looking at. I'm seeing people rank him as high as, 6th or 7th on their list, and then I see some people rank them as far as cornerbacks go. I've seen people have a 3rd, 4th, or 5th round grade on them. So I'm curious to see what happens, after the bowl and during, because I think he's going to test very well at the combine, but we'll see what happens with that. Another day two guy is going to be Denzel Burke from Ohio State. And again, a lot of these corners, all these corners are really 6 foot and taller. Denzel Burke falls right into that category as well, again, unless these college numbers are lying to you. But Denzel Burke at Ohio State, another solid cornerback prospect. His teammate as well, Davison Igbenison, is another guy. 6'1", 6'2", over 200 pounds, very physical. Needs a little bit of additional technique. He's a little bit handsy, but when we're talking about college football, who's not handsy? They're all handsy, right? Pause. And then lastly, I have a guy that's still considered a sleeper. I followed him from Washington to Oregon this year. Loved his demeanor. Loved the way that he challenges every ball that's in the air, and that's going to be Jabari Muhammad from Oregon. Loved him when he was at Washington. He transferred over to Oregon for 1 year, and he's finally coming out. He's a guy that's versatile. He can play inside and outside, and I just like the way that kid plays football. So that's going to be the list of cornerbacks that I'm keeping my eye on. Again, I believe that Travis Hunter is clear-cut the best cornerback in this draft, and I'm curious to see what you guys have to say because, again, this is my opinion. I would love to hear what you have to say about some of the guys that I'm talking about. And also, anybody that I missed, anybody that I didn't put up on the list, please let me know in the comment section down below. Some of these names, some guys I probably watched, maybe you found somebody that I didn't watch, and I love to talk about a lot of the people that are coming up in this draft. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And for one football fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.